Hello everyone, it's Wilson here. Welcome back to another video. So as the title of the video suggests, this video is about coding on my SLK55. So what is coding? So coding in a nutshell is the reprogramming of your electronic control unit, the ECU on your vehicle. That entails you to enable certain features and functions that weren't there from factory. Now, not everything can be enabled on every vehicle. It just depends on the hardware requirements and the wiring, etc. But you often see people do retrofits on cars, add factory, options that weren't there. And then obviously the coding is the programming part. So give an example of what convenience features that can be coded on, some, different vehicles. Things like folding mirrors with a key fob, high beam assist, those sort of things. And you also have advanced things like Vmax delete, which gets rid of the 155 miles an hour speed limit. Agility mode on the automatic transmission, which is basically like Sport Plus mode. Now, obviously, those features are quite advanced. You need to unlock the ECU, to perform those. I've not got to that stage yet. So all I've done is basic convenience features, which I'll show you on this video. So I have had previous experience with coding. I used to own a BMW, so I used to be quite familiar in how to use the coding software. So on Mercedes, obviously I had to learn from scratch, which I've managed to do for the last couple of months, and I'll show you some of the stuff that I've done on my vehicle and hope you find that interesting. So this is the OBD connector adapter that I use for my coding and basic fault code finding. It's called Tactrix Openport 2. Got this on AliExpress, pretty cheap. It's a clone device, so it's not a genuine unit. Genuine one's a lot more expensive. This one's about 15-20 quid, but it does the job. It'll read fault codes, it will do basic coding, but I wouldn't suggest to use a clone device to do any firmware updates. Basic coding is fine. So software requirements. Obviously I've got a full range of software, but the ones that I use for coding specifically is Vediamo version 4. Which is what is shown here. Takes a bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it works fine. You can do the basic coding stuff. Right, so I've got the OBD connector connected to my vehicle, USB cable to my laptop, with the Vediamo coding software running. So the first thing I'm going to code, which I've done already, I'll just show you, give you a rundown of what I did and the end result, is the high beam assist. So the high beam assist never existed on my vehicle as a factory option. It wasn't enabled, but the later vehicles had it, enabled by default from factory. My hardware supports it, and it's just a matter of turning on that facility. So I'll show you what I basically did. I won't dive too deeply at how I did it. It's quite complex, and I'll show you the end result. There's essentially 3 modules you need to code. The first one is the instrument cluster. The second is the central gateway module, which is hidden away. It's not on show. It's the central gateway is the central control unit, which controls all the functions of the car. And then the third module will be the headlight control modules, which controls all the lights around the vehicle. So to reprogram those 3 modules to enable the high beam assist, you need to go into each module individually. So at the moment, I'm currently connected to the instrument cluster module, IC172. You need to connect to the ECU, which I've connected already. I've loaded the program. And then within the coding program, you could click on this code variant ECU button. If I click on that, that will launch the program to go into different sections within that module to reprogram the functions required for high beam assist. I won't dive too deeply into it because it's quite complex, but essentially you've got to do the same for each 3 modules that I explained to enable this function. Okay, so once the coding has been done on those 3 modules, now if you go into your settings and go under light and then scroll down, now this wasn't there before on my vehicle. So this is the adaptive main beam assist, which is essentially the high beam, automatic high beam. So I can switch that on. Now it's switched on. So now if I now go to my high beam switch and switch it on. So you now noticed back on my instrument display, I have that appear. So A, which is automatic high beam. So essentially what the vehicle would do now, it will switch the high beam on and off depending on the oncoming traffic and the light conditions. Now, obviously to switch it back off again, you just toggle it back and that will turn the automatic high beam assist off. Now, if you like to put it back on manual, you simply go back into the settings, light, main beam assist, deactivate, and then once that's deactivated, you can have your high beam on and off manually. So I like that. I'm just wondering why Mercedes didn't activate it on my model, on the earlier models. Now, the second thing that I activated is the display in that corner there, the kilometer display. Now, normally that stays on permanently on kilometers. I've coded it where you could change that indication to an outside temperature display. You can switch it in the settings. Other than that, you normally can't adjust that. That stays on permanent kilometer an hour display. The way to change that is done under the same module, the instrument cluster 172. A few parameters you need to program. But once that's programmed, essentially what you do now is if you go into the settings menu and go into the instrument cluster, now if you scroll down, and this is what you'll have in addition, which I never had before. So you can have the permanent display at the bottom left, have in kilometers an hour, or you can press the OK button and you can have it an outside temperature, which I prefer, because the reason I prefer that, because normally if you're in the AMG window, for example, like I'm in now, you don't get the temperature display. You only get it in certain menus. Now I can have the permanent temperature displayed rather than kilometers an hour. So obviously if I go abroad, I can go back in there and switch it back manually to kilometers an hour rather than the temperature display. So I like the full control rather than than before. So that is definitely a useful thing to code. Now, the third thing I've coded so far is the distance to empty display on the fuel remaining. Again, that's coded on the same module, the instrument cluster. I've not yet to test it if it actually works. I've coded it, and what essentially it does is when you reach reserve on your fuel, you don't normally get the distance to empty. Apparently, I was told. You're only given a warning that you need to refuel. But I've coded it so hopefully when I go on reserve, not that I've been there at the moment and tried it, I should get a warning, and I also should have a distance to empty rather than just a warning. So I've not seen it pop up yet because obviously I've not ran it down to dry, but that's a useful thing to have. Right, so only a short video today to show you the 3 things that I've coded so far. I'll keep exploring and have a look if there's any other useful things that I can code, and I hope to share that with you in future videos. So if you've not done so already, please remember to like, share and subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers!